Today, we are going to be looking at the best mods for Krunker to boost your FPS. We're going to be looking at the best ways to ensure that you get the most FPS possible. Now, in the last video, you guys were pretty concerned about my hair for some reason. I'm currently in the middle of the longest lockdown I've personally been in. Week 7 of the Sydney, Australia lockdown. Today, we're going to be looking at the best mods for you. So these mods are going to allow you to boost your FPS even further than the last video where we looked at the settings to increase your FPS. And if you haven't seen that, go check that out now. It's got some really good information in it. I'm going to show you my personal favorite at the end as well and give you the community submissions that they believe are the best mods to boost your FPS. Crack it. Let's get right into it. All right. So before I show you these mods, let me show you how to actually install mods because it can be quite finicky for some people. First, go to your settings over here, then you type mod. Don't type mods with an S, you will miss one crucial setting. Just type mod. We're gonna scroll all the way down here to where it says customizations, and there are 2 options here. Load mods just allows you to click on a mod from the mod section and actually load it. That mod will stay active as long as you stay in that server you're in. If you refresh or join a different server or close the game down, you're gonna lose that mod and you're gonna have to go back into the mod section to re-download it and reactivate it. An auto load mod underneath essentially removes that issue for you. So every time you load into a round or load into a different server or even just start Krunker for the first time that day, whatever mods you had loaded in last time will automatically load in as you go into the server. And that's it. That is how you turn your mods off and on. And if you ever get into an issue, you can absolutely disable them all so you're back to your vanilla Krunker experience. But where can you find mods in Krunker? It's very, very simple. If you haven't seen it, which I'd be pretty surprised if you haven't, you just come over to the left bar here, click mods, wait for this to load up, and bam, you're presented with the entire mod database in Krunker. These are the featured mods up of here, and we'll have a look at one of these in a little bit as my personal favorite. If you've got friends on Krunker, these will pop up here, liked by these people. And if you want to search for your own mod, you know, you could type a keyword like that, and bam, you know, you've got it. You've got every mod in that range of that style, of that type, and may God help you. The first mod we're going to start looking at is the _comp mod. Right before we enable it, let's have a look at what my base FPS looks like in game. So you can see here, as we jump around the map, as we take out a few enemies, my FPS does dip down to about 500 and comes back up to 800 to 900 in this section of the map. The more detailed it does get, the more FPS I do drop. We can say that my average FPS is around 800 FPS on this map. Let's have a look at how it reacts once we install the times mod. We're going to go into our settings, type mod, scroll down, click load mods on, and then go into mod and search time. Pretty simple, pretty easy, and then just click the load mod button. This will load, tell you how much it's extracting. Once it's done, it lets you know it's a success. We've got our times mod on. We can see that there's a number of changes in the game. First of all, gun sounds. That's not going to affect your FPS, but it is a personal preference and something a lot of people do prefer because the default gun sounds of Krunker are pretty high. But the major thing you'll notice are the wars. These smoother textures mean that your PC has to think less when it's rendering the image. Just like we spoke about in the settings video, the floor here has a bunch of specs on it, which means the PC has to render each of those specs and the floor. When your PC only has to render a very simple, smooth texture like the wall, it's doing less thinking and it's able to get you more frames out. You'll see as we sit in this area now, we're sitting at around 900 FPS, peaking at around there and dropping to the high 800s. And with a little action, we drop down to that 550 where we were before, but our peak FPS is a lot higher than what it was before, and our out of action FPS is a lot higher than it was before. This mod does change your FPS a little bit. It does give you a bit of a benefit, but it's not a huge difference. I would use this and test it out as each PC will respond differently to each mod, depending on the settings you've got actually enabled in your game, and also depending on the actual map you're in. Some maps, like this map or Sub-Zero, seem to get a bit more FPS because it's a lot more simple. Other maps, maybe like the Detailed Dense Lagoon or even Undergrowth, can start to eat up your FPS quite a bit. I'd say overall, we're getting maybe 10 to 20 additional FPS around the areas with action, around the areas with the smoother wars. Overall, this mod is pretty decent to check out. The next mod on the chopping board is the Ninja X2 mod. This one allows for a lot more simple textures to be loaded, just like the last one, and a couple of design choices, such as the boxes and barrels having different textures on them. I would recommend with this one that they do get rid of the multi-graded boxes here. Each of those colors can cause a bit of an FPS drop if you're looking at them. But overall, this one is going to increase your FPS because, again, it's allowing for simple textures. Now, this isn't the best map to show it off, as this building normally does have simple textures. But if you have a look at the other maps in the game, you'll see that everything does get a bit more simplified. One of the big things about this one, though, is that they have simplified the actual cars in the game. So normally there'd be a car sitting right here, a couple of police cars sitting out there. They're now just giant black blocks. They were normally highly detailed with a few really cool, intricate things like windows and rear view mirrors and stuff like that. But now they're just these big black blobs, which means it's easier for your PC to render them as it's one solid color. So check this one out as well. See if it gives you an FPS increase, and let me know in the comments below which of these are going to work for you. The next one on the chopping block is the smooth underscore textures mod. You'll see immediately with this mod how quickly my computer starts rendering these frames. We are sitting in the middle 800s now on evacuation, which is a detailed dense map as well. This is actually insane how fast it's rendering all the frames here. I do have a good PC, but even I'm shocked at this. Now you'll see straight away, these smooth textures aren't just on the walls anymore. They're on the ground, they're on the boxes, they're on everything, even the windows. This mod is insane. I would definitely recommend you try this if you're going to try any of these mods today besides my personal recommendation, which we'll get to in just a moment. Give this one a go if the other two weren't your sort of style or your design choices. This is nice, it's simplistic, easy to look at, and it's not going to hurt your computer. It's going to give you a few more FPS without you having to go out and buy a brand new PC, brand new CPU or GPU or anything like that. This one is absolutely awesome. The next mod we're going to install is the Krunker but Clean mod. First thing you'll see is that your actual CSS or your UI design has changed in the game. The text and font are different, the sizing of things are different, even at UI 0.1. This stuff has gotten even smaller than it already was. I already had my UI set to as small as I could get it, and now it has gotten even tinier. It looks clean, it looks nice. Let's head into the game and see what it looks like. They've completely removed all the textures from the floor. There is nothing differentiating you from the boxes, from the little piles of dirt or grass. Absolutely nothing. It is all just one big black blob, which is great for your FPS. You are going to skyrocket. It's pretty small at the moment, but if you have a look at the top left, you'll see that my FPS is sitting in the thousands. We have breached the high 900s and have entered the 1000 club for Krunker. We still have our smooth textures on the walls here that are included in this mod itself. Unfortunately, we can't get rid of stuff like that, but everything else is nice and simple, right? You have no colors on your boxes there. You have no colors on barrels anywhere nearby. The water's a darker color. The darker it is, the lower saturation you have, the better rendering you're going to get on average. I wouldn't blame you if you called this ugly, but if you're trying to play the game competitively, you're going to want to get as many frames as possible. So if you can eke out a few more frames, even if it's only 10, even if it's 5, it's absolutely worth doing. So definitely check out Krunker but Clean. But we have to talk about my personal recommendation. This next mod I have been using since the first day I started Krunker 2 years ago. This mod has been around forever. It is, in my opinion, the most quintessential mod you need for Krunker, and it is one of the most highest rated mods in all of Krunker history consistently. But right before I tell you which one it is, I just wanted to let you know that if you hit that little subscribe button and turn on that bell, it'll let you know every single time I release a video. And I'm planning on doing a lot more videos like this, teaching you either how to play Krunker, beginner guides, or how to improve your Krunker experience in general. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you turn on bell so you know every time I upload a new video. Coming in at number 1 and my personal favorite mod to boost my FPS is the Crucial mod. Not only does this make your game look pretty decent, not only does it increase your FPS, but it also has very enjoyable, nice sounds that don't sound like the little bubble guns a lot of mods are guilty of using these days. You'll see straight away, even on a detail-intensive map like Lagoon, I am still holding incredibly good frames. Even as I slide hop around the map at max speed, it is still going extremely well. This map not only smooths out the textures on the walls, but it also gives you cool sounds to your guns. That itself allows me to still be competitive and hear other shots coming from other places, but it's not an ear-piercing sound like the default AK can sometimes get for people. We're still getting little animations of the grass around here. I do think that they could remove that with the mod, and it would make for a much better experience because it currently just kind of looks like a couple of pieces of paper waving in the wind. But overall, this mod is my favorite. I've used it since, you know, pretty much the first day I started Krunker, and it is a crowd favorite across everyone in Krunker, just by, you know, how highly voted it's been. So definitely check out Crucial. If you're not going to check out anything on this list, check out Crucial. You will not go wrong with it. And that's it. 5 mods to boost your FPS in Krunker. I hope these have helped you out a lot. I'm sure if you weren't using mods before, this has definitely increased your FPS, even if it was by a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. If it has helped you out, please let me know in the comments below, and let me know what else you want me to discuss around Krunker. Maybe I can help you get nukes. Maybe I can help you understand which classes are best for which situation. Let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to make the video for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! 264 or 128. Those are your lower end options. I keep it map dependent, so it changes from map to map, but reflections are a big one that will eat your FPS, along with shadows. So with shadows, you might want to turn all of them off. Keep regular shadows off, keep soft shadows.